What's up, guys? My name is Chef, and this is my first attempt at coaching Marvel Rivals. I'm a GM player myself, and I've spent several years coaching IRL sports from swimming to baseball to wrestling, and I figured, what the heck, I'd try to give this coaching in Marvel Rivals thing a shot as well. And so, yeah, I found this post on Reddit. This guy is Hunty01. He's the mag player. He's a platinum player, typically a support player, but he's trying to get better at tanking. Said feels like he has some issues with his positioning, as well as losing track of kind of people in the fight. So we're gonna look at those things, as well as see what else we can kind of learn, and hopefully we can help him out a little bit. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. All right, and so right off the bat, I will say I did see the first half of this match while I was eating my food, just to kind of preview for myself and see what we were working with. I didn't see the whole overtime portion though, so we'll dig into that a little bit deeper once we get to it. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and start the fight, take a look. Right off the bat, I will say we definitely don't want to. In fact, I don't really like fighting in this whole section right here. I like to try to stay as close to this bridge and this archway as possible, because this is going to be one open playground. As you can see, you have your Strange here, you have your Jeff here, your Iron Fist is doing Iron Fist things, and your Cloak and Dagger was up there, but she had to drop down. And exactly what I just said, she had to drop down, and she has to come play back here. So if she's having to play back here, or if anyone else is having to retreat back there, they're going to have a very hard time helping you if you're at this bridge or even past this bridge. Okay, so try to, it's okay to push up here at the beginning of the fight, but as you can see, you quickly had to drop back. Luckily, your Punisher got two really easy picks off the bat, and so you guys kind of won this first fight by default. But that was one quick note I wanted to make about positioning wise on this map in particular. It's really heavily defensive favored as long as you play to its strengths, right? You have a literal castle fortress here to play with, but if you walk outside of that, out here, and start fighting out here, then you're going to end up paying the price for it, right? Okay. Now, I know this second fight is where things start going south. All right, great hit with the Iron Man, by the way. I know you did say you feel like your aim is an issue, and, mechanics can always be better. There are usually ways to compensate for mechanics, and also I feel like people focus too much on their mechanics when they feel like they have an issue. They're like, oh, if I can just hit every single shot all the time, then I'd be winning these fights. Well, of course, but there's usually a more obvious reason you lost the fight, and we'll be pointing those out as we move along. But just to preface that, I probably won't be talking too much about aim unless it's like a really obvious mistake. But right here, just like I said before, let's back up. See, you and Penny are all the way up here now. Penny dropped her nest, which I would say is not a great nest. But you got your supports there. Now you're pulling your supports forward too, right? Punisher died, so he's still coming back. Iron Fist is still up there, looking for a flank, I guess. But let's watch what happens in this fight. See, Penny is way far up. Right, you are smart enough to go back. I think you heard the Strange say he was going to portal. So actually, I want to go to your perspective for this, because you hear Strange is going to portal. You look back, you go, oh hey, point's not being guarded by anybody. What should I do about it? Well, let's walk forward. And then we try to help out our Penny. We realize it's too late. We turn around, and now we're caught in the middle of a sandwich. Right. So this is kind of a tough predicament, because you're put in a tough spot, and you kind of just hesitated too much. And I think one of the big things I did want to talk about is, positioning is part of it, but also just decision making, and trying not to hesitate so much when we do have to make a decision, right? Honestly. And see, what happens here is you do end up making the right decision eventually. So you bubble yourself, which, okay, you shield, you get up to this high ground, which is where you wanted to be, right? But it took all of your cooldowns to get there. Whereas if you just beelined it straight here, as soon as you heard the Strange portal, you would have been in a much better position to defend point. Granted, again, Penny kind of threw that fight. I don't know what she was doing. That's beyond your control though. Okay. So there's a lot of situations where you'll have to learn to recognize when your teammates aren't in bad spots, and don't flame them for it. You don't even have to say anything over comms. I might say, hey, Penny, back, or honestly, as soon as I heard Strange, I would have been yelling in comms, portal, 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 portal. But even if you're not going to do that, right, don't let their downfall be your downfall, right? You gotta, accept your losses and try to go defend point as a 5v6 rather than trying to commit to a fight that you know is probably a bad idea. Anyway, that being said, we can kind of see where this is going from here. Our healers get melted because they were overextended as well. Our Punisher's trying to help out, but there's only so much you can do. And now there's 3 of you guys, right? Where's Iron Fist? I don't know what Iron Fist is doing. Iron Fist is out there. Oh, that's right. Iron Fist goes to kill the Iron Man. And I will say this Iron Fist is kind of like in his own world for a lot of this first fight, or this first point. And again, only so much we can do about that. He does end up getting a pick, which is valuable, right? And we should play to that rather than, you know, when he's not grouped with us and being worried about that. I don't know if that's something we're concerned about, but just something I want to put out there. Anyway, now we jump onto point. Now we bubble him, right? I would say that's a pretty good bubble, but right, we distract the Punisher. We eventually go on to Punisher, but it takes us way too long to get there. And by the time we do start shooting Punisher, now we have no bubble for ourselves. Our shield can only do so much, and we get melted down. So I think we kind of just took too. We didn't commit to the fight when we should have, and once we did commit to the fight, it was too late. So we took too long to kind of make that decision again with the decision making, right? Honestly, at that point, like probably all the way back, probably honestly just looking at this situation right now, they have all 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 5 people on point. Your Iron Fist is done. There's nothing you can do to save him, no matter what. You gave him a bubble, which is great. Charge your rings, which, by the way, I don't see you use your rings a ton. I feel like we should be, again, it's not a primary goal for Magneto, but it should be a secondary goal to be constantly, you know, using your bubbles, using your shields to generate those rings and then throw those rings out. If we're holding onto the ring and then using our bubble or shield without throwing the ring and generating nothing, then that's lost value. And B, obviously, if we're not using it to kill and or displace somebody, then it's also wasted value. So we're kind of just, you know, all of these things are supposed to work together, and if we're not letting them work together, then each one is going to be less effective individually. But anyway, so yeah, we can kind of see that was a bad fight. I would have just backed out and reset. That's another thing that I noticed is this is kind of why we snowballed, and this is probably the 99, I don't want to say that much, but it's probably like, you know, 9 out of 10 fights or 9 out of 10 snowballs are caused by people staggering through fights and not being able to stop staggering. Okay. And oftentimes all it takes is one, right? A lot of people will say, oh, well, my penny ran in with nobody, so then I felt like I had to jump on point because otherwise they were going to get the checkpoint, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? It doesn't matter. If one of your teammates staggered, there is no excuse for you to then go in also, right? You need to back again. If it's a 5v6, and yeah, it's Plat, so maybe it's winnable, but still, like if you don't have at least the core of your team around you, then you should know that it's a bad fight and you should be backing up and waiting for the rest of your team to be ready to fight again, right? And or looking for the enemy to slip up and make a mistake while they push. Maybe they overextend, but again, that's an if, not a when. So we're going to kind of see all of that unfold here over the course of the rest of this push. So you can see here, and let's get a better view of what's going on. Let's go over here. Actually, God, I wish this camera was faster. But as you can see already, right, they've gotten probably a third, almost halfway through this second point because you were so staggered, and now your whole team, not just, you know, not just waiting on you, but the whole team is waiting on everybody to come back. Your Iron Fist is waiting. Your Cloak and Dagger is waiting. You finally get there. Jeff is able to escape because he's Jeff. Punisher's there now. You're engaging. So right now, again, talking about these bridges are here for a reason. They're very, very good hard cover. Now, I'm going to assume you at least kind of have a concept of hard cover because you are Plat. Again, hard cover is your best friend as a tank. Corners are your best friend as a tank, right? Normally, you would want to hold on this corner. At this point, it's too late to hold that corner because they already have their whole team there, and now this corner is their corner, right? They can go back here and get healed and peek and do damage and go back and get healed as much as they want, right? That is what you want to be able to do. Now, unfortunately, this whole stretch is not great for that. you can't really play off of this corner specifically, so you have to kind of play more up here. Especially as mag, though, you can do that. You have some range, right? You could even, if you really wanted to be aggressive, peek from up here, right? Create some off angles and create some more pressure. But instead, we're going to kind of stand here. And this is another kind of, this brings up another point that I wanted to make, right? Just kind of standing out in the open. And I know we're probably trying to take space. Taking space is a lot more complicated than a lot of people make it out to be. Or maybe not complicated, but it's a lot less simple and straightforward. People think, oh, look, you know, there's space here. I'm a tank. I walk up and I take this space. And that's what like DPS and support players will yell at their tank when they feel like their tank isn't playing well enough. But in reality, like, walking up here is just going to get you killed. Again, you're just walking into the enemy team and you don't have that much sustain. You have a Jeff on your team, right? Jeff is not the best healer in terms of healing output is concerned, right? Cloak and Dagger is a good healer, but she also just recently got nerfed. And especially as someone who plays Cloak and Dagger a lot, I can tell you like her burst heal potential is rather limited. She has her bubble, which, and again, in Plat, you can't rely on your healers to be gods, right? So she already burned her bubble, right? She burned her bubble trying to keep you up while you're here. You should be using this opportunity to back up without taking too much damage or without getting caught. You, I believe, use it as an opportunity to stay and walk forward. And you kind of just keep standing here, and now Punisher has used this ulti, right? And another thing goes in it. We can talk about cooldown usage in a second because I want to touch on that too. But again, you're still standing out in the open. You have no way to protect yourself. Luckily, you shoot your penny first. You have both your healers backing you too, which is helpful. But honestly, Punisher will probably burn through that unless one of them ultis, which I think the Cloak eventually does. But other than the healing that you're getting and your cooldowns that you can use on yourself personally, you got to go all the way back up here. And even then, he still kind of has a sight line on you. And then you got to kind of go either left or right. And there's also an Iron Man back here, I guess, that's creating pressure too. But Iron Man is nowhere near as much of a problem, even though he has ulti. He's nowhere near as much of a problem as this Punisher because your Punisher's dealing with him. You also, I believe, just use your bubble. Yes, you just use your bubble, saving the Iron Fist. However, that was before the Punisher ulti. See, what happens is Iron Fist is full health, or mostly full health. He's getting healed, and you bubble him anyway. There's not really a whole lot of purpose to that bubble. I know that he was like going in for an attack, and you're like, oh, maybe I should bubble him just so that, you know, nothing bad happens. But Mag's bubble is on a long cooldown, and it's also on a shared cooldown. You got to think about, do you need that bubble for yourself? Do you need that bubble for Iron Fist? Is Iron Fist going to need it more in 5 seconds after he's taken more damage? You got to do a lot of cost-benefit analysis with the bubble in particular. And the longer a cooldown is in general, typically you're going to have to do the more cost-benefit analysis you're going to have to do, right? That being said, I don't think this is a terrible bubble. It's not a bad bubble, but it just ends up costing you in about 5 seconds when Judge, Shuri, Executioner, and now he's bubbled. You don't have a bubble for yourself or Iron Fist. Iron Fist sure could use that bubble right now. And instead, he is going to get ignored by the Punisher, actually. He's still going to get melted. There he goes. Yeah, oh yeah, now the Punisher gets him because I think he tried to fight him for some reason. But yeah, now your Punisher ultis, I think. No. Yes, he already did ulti. See, it happened in the blink of an eye. Now your Punisher is going to ulti to try to counter that Punisher ulti, which, again, maybe not the brightest idea, but maybe if you had a mag bubble, he would have been able to pull that off, right? He has a Strange Shield or sort of protecting him. He has, the Hulk already burned his bubble. But he has nothing. You try to mag shield him, but you're too far off to the side. You're too late, right? This is where, again, like if we didn't have to back up and run for our lives, we maybe would have been able to read that a little bit sooner, right? As much as Tank wants to frontline, you still need to be aware of the battlefield as a whole. Even though your camera perspective is like this, you need to be seeing the match like this, right? Head on a swivel. Okay. Anyway, this fight obviously goes south because the Punisher is melting you. Cloak does ulti to save you, probably too little too late. Or, I mean, in fact, I know it's too little too late. Because they still have all 6 up. They can just kind of, Hulk goes into your back line, causes some ruckus. See, now 2 of you guys are focused on Hulk. You are still pushing forward into the back line, or into the enemy back line. Okay, you see the cloak ult, you get, okay, W key. But again, we need to have our rear view mirror on a little bit here, where we got 3 people separating us from the 3 remaining members of our team, and our team could probably use our help a lot more. I know what we're trying to do here. I know we're trying to get the pick on the healer that could potentially turn the fight. Unfortunately, Luna's not that bad. She doesn't just let you kill her. And it ends up getting your whole team killed because none of them can really deal with Hulk on their own, right? And the Hulk also ends up quickly getting supported by the rest of his team. See, here comes the rest of their team. No one to stop them from walking up. And this is another trade thing. You decide to W key, but then 3 of them decide to W key in turn. And it ends up, you don't win the 1v1. Right. And this is where, again, maybe if you had godlike aim, this would be a different story. You can't play on the assumption that you're going to have godlike aim, though. Right. But again, this is a mess. No one should be trying to fight still. Everyone should be backing up into the nearest form of cover. You guys have lost this space. So now this becomes your corner. This is the safe spot for you. You can hide here from them and get healed and then go forward. Right. But all of your team kind of decide to stay out in the open, maybe because they don't have a tank. Or they have a tank, but Penny's really not going to be a tank that people group around. If you're going to play the shield tank like Mag or Strange, or the main tank, quote unquote, you have to be aware that people are going to kind of orbit you as the main tank. It's also known as the anchor tank, kind of an ancient term by video game standards. But anchor tank is going to be the one that people are centering their attacks around. The supports are going to play behind the anchor tank, right? The DPS are going to flank around where the main tank is pushing, right? They have no main tank right now, so they have nowhere to play around because their main tank is all the way over there, right? So maybe you were hoping that the whole team would push forward, but again, you can't just work under that assumption. Either say it in comms, or be turning around. Like, I don't think I see you turn around once this whole fight here. Let's go back and watch what kind of happens here from your perspective, now that we've kind of seen it from the third place. So after the Punisher ulties, again, Cloak ulties, and we just W key. Cloak backs up. We stay in the Cloak ult. Cloak ult only lasts so long. Remember, it got nerfed in this half season patch. So now you have no heals. You still haven't turned around to see what's going on. Now you turn around. But again, by this point, it's too late. You got the payload in between you. Their team is all over your team. And we're trying to walk back. But again, it's just nothing. It's too little too late. They're already too dead. And it's a lost fight. And at this point, you're still trying to fight. But there's not much you can do. Maybe try to charge. Okay. You have 3 down. Okay. I don't know if did we ulti because the Luna ulti, or did the Luna ulti in response to your ulti? Okay, the Luna hasn't ultied yet. So you're not even trying to counter the Luna ulti. You hear Hulk smash. Your ulti is not going to kill Hulk in his ulti. I'm just going to tell you that outright. So why are we ulting here? Okay, I don't mean to laugh, but this is classic, like, tunnel vision, too, bloodthirsty, battle mad, just too focused on what's in front of you and not what's going on around you, right? And this is the biggest downfall of tank players, is when they get, really it's the biggest downfall of any player, but it's very easy for it to happen when you're playing tank, because again, you're on the front line. It's hard to, be shooting, turn around, shooting, turn around, shooting, but that's kind of what you have to do. In this case, I don't know how much you watched the kill feed. Kill feed is invaluable with how much it tells you. You would have known that you had 3 people down. You would have known that your Punisher isn't back yet. You would have known that they probably have, most of their team still up, because maybe you saw that the Punisher got picked, but that's not enough to try to win this fight. This is beyond a lost fight. Long way of saying, bad alt investment, but I just wanted to kind of explain why it was a bad alt and not just tell you it was a bad alt. Anyway, we missed Luna. That's okay. Again, you know, I'm not going to harp too much on mechanics. We were close. Luna's hard to hit. She's fast. She does get it. Remember that she does get a speed buff in her ulti, so she moves a lot faster than normal. But anyway, yeah, we're going to die here. Our Iron Fist is going to die here. We're just going to go ahead and skip a little bit forward. Oh, actually, no, we don't die here. That's right. Okay. I apologize. We are smart, and we do back out. So, yeah, let's go back. We actually do. Cloak saves our ass. We managed to keep ourselves alive. But then we go back in. It is not... I mean, maybe, okay, again, trying to contest, I understand that. Okay, most of our team is back. Our Punisher just died again. I don't know how. I didn't actually see that. How did he die? Where is he? He's right here, and he just... he kind of was behind them. Okay, he just went... That was a bad flank on his part. But... you know your Iron Fist is still dead, so you don't have any DPS. But we still decide to go back in. And you know what? Penny has ult. Maybe she can contest with that. Jeff has his ulti. Maybe he can make something happen. I'm not going to get too much into tracking the enemy ultis, just because I know that I feel like that's a little more advanced, and it's not that important. But it is useful to kind of mentally check it or think to yourself every once in a while, hey, you know what? I don't think I've seen Jeff ulti this whole game. He probably has ulti. He's probably holding on to it right now. And stuff like that, right? I don't expect you to know every time Strange has ulti, other than like trying to read into how he plays a little bit, maybe. We'll get more into that later when he does ulti. But yeah, so we managed to get the touch. We're shooting. She goes in and ultis. This was, okay, so one thing to keep in mind with Jeff ult is try not to jump around, because that shit's tall. It's a very tall cylinder, but if you can get outside that line, then you're good. Okay, so if you jumped and now you can't walk to the side because now you're a floating duck. But yeah, try to just like side strafe AD. Don't try not to spam jump, because you're gonna end up doing that. Anyway, this is actually hilarious too, because your tries to swallow him and he misses. Again, not much you can do about that, but it's just something kind of you got to accept. And again, you got to play smarter for it now, because now your team has no ultis. And unfortunately, they continue to kind of stagger while you're coming back. But again, this is your opportunity to stop the bleeding. Be the change you want to see in this world. Don't go in without the rest of your team. And unfortunately, we don't really do that. But yeah, right now, see, you're the first one back. Everyone else died, right? And see, I would stop right there. See that pillar right there? I would stop right there. Play around that. You can still go up to this archway too, if you feel like it's safe enough. Honestly, it probably is. And you can play around this archway. Bam, bam. You know, shoot from there, go to cover, wait for your heals to get back up to the pillar if you need to. Unfortunately, we see the Jeff spray. We're like, all right, cool, our team's back. And we kind of just keep, you know, we stand here for a little bit, but we walk forward, and see, Strange baits you. He's got the Punisher turret behind him. He's got his whole team behind him. So he's going to back up a little bit for some more support. And he's going to lure you into walking forward. But again, let's check our rear view mirror for a second. And let's look behind us. We do have our team behind us, but they are not going forward. In fact, our Punisher's still coming back. I think he just got knocked out of his own turret. Our heals, our Shark, Jeff's range on his healing is not that far. He can't reach farther than where you're at right now. Hawkeye's definitely not going to step out. In fact, he's probably going to step back more. Winter Soldier's probably waiting for a hook. By the way, now, you are also a solo tank now. I'm sure you realize that at some point. I forgot to mention it until now. But this means we have to play even more conservatively, because everyone loves shooting the tank. Okay. All of their focus is going to go towards you when there's nothing better to shoot. And right now, there's nothing better to shoot than you standing front and center right in front of their whole team, right? With no hard cover to immediately bail to. You can back up, but that's going to take a good 3-4 seconds, and then you can definitely die that fast. And let's keep watching in third person, because I think this is an important fight. And you even call yourself out on it too, because you say you lose track of the Strange and he ends up ulting your team, which is exactly what's going to happen. See right here, we're fighting Strange, and look what he does. Watch, he just kind of steps off to the side. He's out of your field of view. And again, gamers have object permanence problems sometimes. He's out of your field of view. He has ceased to exist for at least the next 5 seconds until you hear by the eye of, and then you're going to shit your pants. You get too focused on fighting the Hulk. The Hulk still has heals. He has the Scarlet helping him. You have nobody. And I don't know how much you realize this or not, because you're not turning around. And so, yeah, you have the Hawkeye here shooting arrows at the Hulk with you. But both of the heals are way more concerned with, like, see, fucking Cloak and Dagger's turning around. She's making sure Punisher's okay. She's making sure all the squishy DPS are not going to get insta-killed. And guess what? They're going to get insta-killed anyway, because Strange goes 4 steps to the left. He waits, he flies, and then again, you're just still kind of, this whole time, you're kind of just staring at Hulk, and then you go, oh shit, and yeah, it's too late. So again, watch this. She steps off to the side, and then again, we just, and I think maybe we saw him out of the corner of our eye there, but we didn't. It took too long to think about what he was doing. Strange flies up like that, he's going to try and go for an Agamotto. If he's not backing up with his fly, then he's trying to go for an Agamotto. And again, maybe it was because we had the bubble. I don't know. Again, we don't turn around. We just kind of forgot about it until it's too late. And then bam. And then team like boom, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4. Everyone's dead. And then Punisher ulties in the last ditch effort to hero ult it. He does have the Cloak and Dagger keeping him up, so he does manage to kill a couple. Doesn't even kill the Hulk because he has too much healing. Can't focus his fire. No one can step on point, and that's the round. So, hopefully we've learned a lot. I feel like I've been going on and on a lot. This will probably get cut down. But hopefully we're learning a lot from this. I'm not trying to harp on you or, question your intelligence or anything like that. I know that there's a lot that goes on in these games, and believe me, I was an Overwatch player since it launched all the way up until, basically this game came out. So it took me a long time to learn a lot of these fundamentals. So don't be discouraged if things seem obvious, or even if I make things seem obvious when they don't seem obvious to you in game. Okay, the reason I'm making them seem obvious is because I want you to kind of be able to shift your perspective so that you can also see kind of how I'm seeing it, or how someone else sees it when they play this game, right? Okay, so we switched to Strange for the second round. So we'll be talking about some different things as Strange. I think off the bat, I think you do have better positioning and shield usage. Shield usage is Strange, which is good. You do know the melee combo, but I will say off the bat, mechanically, well, I'll point it out when we get to it. Good medicine. Anyway, also, quick note. I'll say it once and not say it again. With our shield, it's good to shield, but it's not good to shield pointlessly, right? Like if we're just, we're just holding out shield kind of for no reason, and this is damage that we could be taking that our healers could then be healing and generating ult charge off of, okay? And in general, you want your shield to be more of your back pocket than your front literal shield, right? You don't want to lead with your shield until it breaks and then wait for your health to get low. You want to kind of be like alternating them a little bit, but let yourself take some damage. When you start to get a little low, shield and let yourself get healed up. Maybe get to a better position so you don't have to continue to hold your shield out. Drop your shield and let it recharge. Then go in and let yourself take some damage and cycle that way, right? Medicine. So like this. This is good. There we go. Yeah. See, we get to a better position. Pushing forward. So as I mentioned before, our goal, especially on this first point, is to win this section right here so that we can then push into this section better, okay? So it's good that you play around those initial pillars. Right now, you got Hulk in your backline. It looks like your team's dealing with him, so you're just kind of keeping Strange at bay. I think this is all pretty good. We got, is that their torch? That's their torch. Okay, so yeah, this is a pretty neutral fight. Our Winter Soldier gets killed because he kind of plays too aggressive, but that's okay. Yeah, now you're down 2, so you're playing safe. That's okay. Looking for a pick. This is all good. You want to just make sure don't give up any additional space. Try to take what they give you, like right here. They give you a little bit of space. This is good. You walk up and you take some space. I think part of what happens is when you play Magneto, you try to apply too much logic of Strange. Strange can do that. Strange can just walk up, shield, and wait till he gets healed. Magneto has to be a lot more careful about that because his cooldowns are so much longer and the abilities last for so much shorter, right? His bubble and his shield each only buy him a second and a half, 2 seconds or so. So you have to be really smart about when you use them. Strange's shield, don't have to be that smart about when you use it. I mean, again, the smarter the better, but we can just kind of walk up and hold WQ with Strange a lot easier than we can with Magneto. Magneto you still can, you just have to be a little bit more conservative about how you do it. Anyway, this is good. Okay, see, I think we learned our lesson, and we're trying to make sure we stay on Strange, not let him just walk up on our backline for free. That's good. I would be meleeing more. So this is what I mentioned. We do shoot melee, but it should be like constant. Like there is basically zero reason to not melee, even if the enemy is really far away. I mean, you don't have to if the enemy is really far away. I would put it on in a place where it's comfortable to just spam the button, click button, click button, click button, click button, click button, and it just becomes second nature. Because there's a lot of instances here where we miss out on opportunities to melee. Like I think right there we could have. So right here, shoot, no melee, shoot, no melee. There, now we melee, but we meleeed too late. We waited to melee and then it interrupted our cycle, right? And then we shoot melee. But if you're just maintaining that whole time, the whip goes a lot farther than you would think it does. And so you might be able to kind of reach for that shield even when you're not like right in his face, right? And there's other instances too where there's like, you know, see that Hulk like got tagged by our melee and we didn't even mean to tag him. Okay, there's other instances like that where there might, you know, we might not even realize we're going to hit somebody with the melee, but we, you know, just do it anyway and we get free damage, right? It might end up being the difference in a kill, especially if you're doing it all the time. And there's another instance I think later where that happens. Okay, so right now, so again, we try to push in, but we can't because I think our shield's down. Is our shield down? I don't know. Oh, no, our shield's not down. We're just kind of a little bit leery here, but that's okay. We get more picks, which is great. And so yeah, you W key it up. So this is good. You know how to take advantage of when the enemy makes mistakes, or rather when your DPS create opportunities for you, right? So that's good. We know when to W key. We just need to learn when not to W key. There's something I like to think of a lot when I play tank that's called, that I like to think of as like an ebb and flow, right? Like the tide. You don't want to just statically be always W keying, and you don't want to always be backing up, right? You want to go forward, back up, go forward, back up, right? And we'll look for other opportunities for that here, but that is something we did kind of do pretty well here, right? We've been doing pretty well in this initial push, right? We back up a little bit when we need heals or when things get dicey. We kind of play the corner, we go forward, we back up a little because we can't find an opening. We're still down one. Oh, but we got the res. And they give you space, and so you W key, and again, we got to be careful about getting baited here. In this case, it ends up working out for us, but just to rearview mirror, again, just because this is something I want you to really get in the habit of. We have most of our team behind us, but not all of our team, right? Star-Lord's off in Neverland, Punisher's off in Neverland. You only have one DPS, and you are the only tank. So you got to be careful about, like, if this Punisher is better, he potentially gets a pick on one of your supports, and then you're in a lot of trouble, right? And so this is where I probably maybe would have flowed back a little bit, but again, it ends up working out because Star-Lord just kind of goes crazy. He kills the Punisher because he's not paying attention. And then your whole team's kind of in. And now, see, this actually is where we should be W keying more. Now we're backing up when we should be going forward, right? You got both your DPS up here in their backlines faces, right? The Hulk is fighting you or trying to keep you from getting to backline, right? You do need to worry about him jumping supports, but at this point, you're probably going to kill their Jeff and his healing. And Winter Soldier is definitely going to kill their healing before he can do any damage to the 3 people behind you, okay? So this goes into that quick decision making, but it also goes into that ebb and flow aspect, right? Right now, Tide's coming in, so we're eventually going to make our way up. But we wait for Hulk to die. See, at this point, also another just small tip. Once you know someone's going to die, you're confident your team's got it. Don't be afraid to just kind of leave it to them and walk up. You don't need to be the one that gets every final blow. You don't need to be stuffing the stat sheet. Okay, you should already be here kind of in their faces, right? But we're a couple steps behind because we stayed to kill the baby Hulk. But yeah, things work out for us though. And they see, this is where they end up staggering. Chef wastes his ulti. He had caught in it, but that's okay. Doesn't really, again, this is like kind of, they're just feeding right at this point. And you get the point. Awesome. But they probably wouldn't have been able to like even stagger, or not stagger, but stall it if we'd been holding this door a little bit more aggressively. So that kind of goes to show my point of what I was saying earlier. Yeah, and chase down the Luna. Oh, again, let me go back to your perspective, because this is where the shoot melee comes in, right? There's a lot of instances where we probably could have scored an extra melee on this Luna. Right? So right now, no. But no melee. Probably could have hit her there. No melee. No melee. We waste the darkness because we don't actually do that much damage. I know you've probably seen a lot of Strange go, bah, get big kills. You got to remember, that's only when they have the full damage. You got to wait till your cape is basically glowing purple. Otherwise, it's basically going to do nothing. So don't even like bother letting it register in your mind that you can use it until you like can see the outline of the eye on the cape. But yeah, Luna ends up getting away from us because we missed a couple opportunities to melee there. That could have been the difference, right? So again, we're ebbing when we should be flowing, right? We're kind of backing up. This is when it would be a great opportunity to kind of put some more pressure on their supports a little bit, prevent them from getting healed, maybe make them run away, back up. Namor's kind of by himself because he's behind their supports. They might not see him right away. I wouldn't go sprinting towards Namor, mind you, but this is where this space is takeable. You want this corner, especially on offense. Your goal is to move from corner to corner. And right now you have this corner and you back up to that corner when you can, honestly, probably start moving forward and getting them to back up so you can take this corner, because the tanks are, again, Hulk is in a lot of trouble. He starts getting melted by Star-Lord. Strange starts getting melted by your team, right? Neither of them have ulti, so neither of them are in a position where they can like really turn the tides. So they have to back up. They would probably have to back up more if you were right here beating up on their supports. But because you're over here, they're like, all right, cool, this is our new front line. I can play this corner. Luckily, Star-Lord gets another pick. Deal with the squids. But again, you're still just kind of hanging out here. Go, go. Now's the time to W key. Flow, flow. Don't ebb, flow. And we're shielding. I don't know why we're shielding here, right? What are we? Oh, we're shielding Punisher's ult, I guess. But again, no one's going to be able to peek Punisher for long enough to kill him. Maybe the Namor, but hopefully Punisher wouldn't let that happen. But let's go back to your perspective for a second. Like, how much damage did you realistically block just standing there with shield? Hulk's still punching you. Your shield doesn't block punches. And then you're just standing there holding it, standing there holding it. Now you realize, okay, I think you're still okay. That's why you know that there's two of them over there, and so you're more. Now we're a little too concerned with the flanks and not concerned with the front line. And so that this goes into like more of a tunnel vision thing again. I think we let that Strange ult bother us a little too much. Or not bother us a little too much, but get to us a little too much, and now we're overcompensating for it, right? We know there's a Hulk behind us. We know he has ult. Wait, did he just use ult? No. But there's a Luna there doing fuck all. Healers flanking is almost something you want to take advantage of, though, because now they are not down a healer, but everyone except Hulk has one less healer, and that one healer that they do have is Jeff, and Jeff is not going to be able to sustain them very well. As you can see, Winter Soldier is already putting a decent amount of pressure. I think he's about to hit Namor. No, he's about to miss Namor. But he's already putting pressure on these two DPS, as is Star-Lord. And if you were here, then you might be the difference between making sure these two die and not. But again, I think they do get away. But you're all the way back here. Punisher's trying to deal with that. Punisher is also honestly kind of getting too distracted by, again, there's a brick wall between you guys and them. Even though they're back there, and you don't want to forget they're back there, you don't want to like stare at the brick wall and wait for them to do something, right? You want to run up and take this space. And if you have this space, they're still way behind you. They still will eventually probably try to fight you. But again, they have to cover a bunch of open space to come and get you. And they're separated from their team. Luna and Hulk are doing nothing to help these two. Your other two players, Jeff is still coming back from spawn, it looks like. So they are helpless. All of this is free space right now. But we're getting a little too distracted with them trying to distract us, right? This is pretty much what they want you to do. Is they want to be a distraction. They want to be annoying. They want to stall you. And it's working, right? They have just enough to let you keep pouring bullets into them and let it not affect Hulk. Cloak even ulties because she's so rattled by the Hulk ult, even though it's just two players and you guys have a whole team. You guys get so rattled by this Cloak and this Hulk, and then all of a sudden you let your rocket die because cloak. He somehow wasn't in the cloak ult, and he's on the front line now. Look at this. Hold on, let's rewind a little bit. Somehow Rocket and Cloak and Dagger have now become your front line, because this is your front line. Hulk is still just a distraction. And yet, because Winter Soldier and Star-Lord couldn't get the kills because they didn't have the help, Jeff is able to come back and heal them. Your backline is all of a sudden chaos because Hulk is ulting there. And now their whole front line is just pouring damage on you, and it's a sandwich. It's a shit sandwich again, right? We can't let ourselves fall into shit sandwiches. And you, as the tank, it's your job to avoid these scenarios, right? Yes, we want to turn around and help the backline. No, we don't want to give up the front line at the cost of that, right? Because now Rocket's dead, flat. Now we're down a healer. And now things are going to kind of fall apart. Look at Luna's almost dead, but she gets a... Oh no, she does die. Just kidding. Punisher does eventually kill the Luna, which is awesome. And we do eventually, I think, maybe win this fight. I actually don't remember what happens from here on. So let's see. Strange gets away. It was kind of a neutral fight because Luna wasn't able to get back in time. Cloak and Dagger all did just enough to be like valuable. But now we're stuck. Oh, okay. Just kidding. Punisher died, so we're fine. Yeah, just platinum things, I guess. But this could have gone very south very quick. It kind of like both teams fumbled the ball a little bit, and so it ended up being a neutral play on both sides, right? Let's see where it goes from here. Boom. Ah, where are you? Are you dead? Where are you? Oh, we're up there. Ah, that's right. I do remember this play. Okay, so here's what happens. We know our Rocket's down, but we get the pick on the Punisher. I think we get excited because we kill their Punisher, but it's still a 5... Or actually, no, sorry. Their Luna's still dead. So it is a 4v5, right? Where's our Rocket? And he's coming back. So, yeah, it's a 4v5. So, on paper, yeah, this is a great time to ulti, right? This is kind of where, again, their Strange just kind of diffs you because he catches you slipping. If we were thinking about his ulti, and we were aware of the fact that he had ulti, which, again, we probably should have thought of because I don't think he's ultied yet. So be keeping in mind, if they haven't ultied yet, they probably have ulti. If it's past the first 2 fights, they definitely will probably have ulti by the time you're in a situation like this. And so what you want to do is you try to fly. You go, oh my gosh, I see that juicy backline. I'm a Agamotto the shit out of it. But guess what? That leaves your backline vulnerable to the same thing. And what happens is Strange just kind of gets there. You kind of float up there and wait. In fact, I don't even know why you stayed floating up there and waiting. I don't know. Maybe you don't know that you can cancel your fly, but you don't need to... actually, why am I just not doing this? You don't need to hover up there for the whole 5 sec 3 2. Yeah, so you kind of just stay up there for the whole 5 seconds or whatever it is. We don't need to do that. The best way to get the jump on them is by doing the little jump where you go up and almost, not immediately, but after just like a second, you cancel it so you fall right back down on them. We kind of messed that play up, unfortunately, and so that leaves our backline vulnerable. So we go up, and then we're just kind of staring there, and we're like scared that they saw us, they're shooting at us. I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm not going to pretend I know what's going through your head here. All I know is we didn't drop down an Agamotto. At the very least, even if he did Agamotto, at this point it's too late to save your team. You're already fucked up. I would at least try to even trade it, right? Drop down, try to get him back for it, because he left his backline exposed too. Right? And then you hear it, you go, oh no, I did it again. And there's nothing really we can do with this. We do end up, Bucky makes a bigger difference here than you do, right? You kind of add a little bit of damage, but realistically it's Bucky that kind of saves it. And then I think we still kind of end up losing the fight. Bucky's kind of going again. You get carried off the map. Let's see how the rest of this fight goes though. So, we'll see that your team ends up winning the fight anyway, which is awesome. Sometimes you get these free wins, right? Okay, so now we're entering the last checkpoint. I know we're eventually going to win this. Honestly, I think just because they keep staggering you portal. Oh, that's right. We portaled. I won't harp on you too much about it. Yeah, a little too late to portal. I would have just canceled it probably. This does inevitably, ultimately end up being a good thing, sort of. But another thing is we ulti without having charge on our E, right? We try to E and we don't actually get the insta kill. We do get Luna, but we don't get Jeff because we don't have the full charge of it, and Jeff ends up getting away. I won't say it's a bad Agamotto. I will say there could be better Agamottos because ultimately it did. I think you guys probably would have been able to buy this space anyway. So yeah, if we go back to before you portaled, right? It's kind of just so Namor dies there no matter what. He maybe the portal fucked him up, but he probably dies no matter what. Now it's just their 2 supports here, and I know seeing 2 supports is a super juicy ultimate, but again, like the rest of their team's nowhere to be found. You probably don't need your ultimate to finish this fight. In fact, honestly, you don't even need to kill them here because if they run away, it's basically the same effect. They're running back to spawn and then they're coming back. You might as well have gotten the kill without having to invest the ultimate, right? Because yeah, you can just kind of walk up here. They're going to have to back up no matter what, right? You do end up getting the kill on the Luna. You end up getting killed on the Shark. Or you don't end up getting the kill on the Shark, excuse me. He runs away, which is fine. And you got this space, which is great. You did your job as the tank. You took the space, but we just kind of invested a little more than we needed to, right? I know people say that you should be using your ultimate like as often as possible, and that is true. Or rather, you shouldn't be holding on to your ultimate for too long. But that doesn't mean just throw your ultimate away either. Don't use it just because you can. That being said, I'd also always rather see you win the fight and use the ultimate and win the fight than lose the fight and not use the ultimate. Okay, so here's pretty good. Here's another example of like we're a little far up, but it ends up working out for us because the Star-Lord is able to pick off their backline and we have plenty of heals. But as you can see, things are getting kind of dicey. What's our shield health out? Now is when we would want to be shielding. So this you do a pretty good job of. Again, luckily your DPS are putting good pressure on, so you're able to kind of just stand there and get value. But reading now that there's 2 picks, now I would be W keying, right? We W keyed maybe a little early, but you didn't die for it. You weren't punished for it, so it was okay. Now is when okay, they're 2 down. I'd be running up and down. Okay, we got the Scroll Stampede. We do want to be wary of that. We got the Luna ulti. We want to be careful there, but we got the Rocket ulti. So okay, this is good. This is probably a good ebb moment. Good idea to back up. We have the Rocket ulti, and I think our DPS do end up managing to find just enough space. Yeah, I think you probably helped. Was that the Scroll Girl you hit with your? No, I don't know where Scroll Girl is. Doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, these kind of fights are always kind of a nothing burger, but until something like that happens where Star-Lord with the Rocket ulti is able to burst through it. Again, you did the right thing here in just playing neutral and charging ulti. Not like a whole lot more we could have done. I'm sure there's, little things here and there. But I think we did pretty well this fight. This whole push, again, with the exception of a few mistakes that we focused on, I think we played pretty well here. Again, at least exceptional, right? We didn't we didn't make a ton of huge mistakes that the enemy was able to take advantage of. And while we didn't proactively take advantage of the enemy stakes a ton, we did present the opportunity, or we did take advantage of the opportunities that presented themselves. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the overtime now and see where things go wrong. So let's see how we stay on the Strange, which I think you're doing. I think it's smart. We're doing better on the Strange, especially solo tanking. It's just easier on a Strange. You can do it on Mag, but it's just easier on a Strange. Here's something behind you. Ah, there it is. So you heard that. They have a Groot now. Interesting. Okay, so we have to be a lot more cautious because they have the Groot, right? Because Groot can really ruin our day if we're not careful about when we W key and when we turn around. Given you have a problem with turning around, we're gonna hope that that doesn't persist. All right, we got the bubble here. I always like watching in third person. Let's watch in third person. So we got our team behind us. We got the rocket res up. Right now we're fighting for this space, which is good. We want to be fighting for this space. We want to wait for the Strange to kind of overextend a little bit and maybe catch him slipping. Or the Groot. Groot's playing pretty smart though. Groot has a longer effective range than Strange does, so Groot can stay a little farther back. He does start trying to help put pressure on the Strange. He does try to help the Strange put pressure on you. Luckily, our Star-Lord's doing great. I don't know who. I think our Star-Lord was Iron Fist before. Much better on Star-Lord. They're doing a great job of forcing Strange to turn around or back up. These are the kind of situations you want your DPS to be putting you in. And these are the kind of situations you want to take advantage of, which you're doing a good job of. You're W keying a little bit. You're trying to make them, again, add on to that pressure and force them to back up. So yeah, so now we see Strange starts getting kind of low. He does have to back up all the way, but now all this space is yours. And your healers can play around this corner. You can even play around this corner if you need to. This is closer than that, and they can still heal you. So this is a great position for you to be in while we try to, I don't want to say wait for something to happen, but wait for an opportunity to present itself, right? Or try to create, of course, create one ourselves. And this is great pressure. You see, you have the whole team in front of you, and we have our whole team behind us. This is good, right? Now what we want to be watching out for here is the ebb and flow in the fight, right? If they start trying to push up as a team, you're going to have to back up, right? Maybe create, sidestep them a little bit, create a little bit of an opportunity for you to pinch in on them and maybe get a pick, right? If they start to back up, and maybe if your DPS finds a flank, you see they got Luna real low, real low. Winter Soldier wants her. So maybe if she gets that pick, that's your time, that's your cue to press forward more, right? Let's see how this unfolds though. When it does get picked, you get walled. Now this is a tricky situation, right? Because we have been cut off from our heals. We did probably see the Luna pick, and we know that their only other healer is Jeff. So they're gonna have a hard time healing all your damage output, but you're kind of alone here. So in these instances, in this specific case, what I would probably do is turn around and shoot the wall, just because I would be scared of getting punished too quickly. Knowing this is a platinum game, you might be able to get away with not breaking the wall. In fact, you probably will. But just know that this kind of spells doom for any aggressive actions you try to take, right? If you try to step forward from here, you're done, right? Luckily, you have Punisher turret break the wall immediately, and you get the heals anyway, right? So it was kind of a moot point, but I think it's important to point out how to play against Groot when you're Strange, because Groot can really screw an over-aggressive Strange over, or just a Strange that doesn't know when to turn around, which kind of seems to be our problem sometimes. Playing in the heal bubble, though, this is good. We start to see a little bit of an advantage over the Strange. We start putting more pressure. But again, the tough part about this fight is that you're solo tanking and they are not, right? So this Strange has the help of another 850 hulking tree behemoth monster to help him, whereas you have high damage output, but they're all squishies and they can't really help you take space. So that being said, I think you're doing a great job of holding the line without being too aggressive or too conservative. So I think we're really starting to do a good job here of understanding the flow, the ebb and flow that we've mentioned so many times, a little bit better, right? Maybe it's that we're settling into it a little bit more and we're starting to get a better feel. Maybe it's that we're just better doing that on Strange. Either way, doing good. See, we hear that 60 seconds. We're getting a little desperate, thank God. Star-Lord to the rescue again, right? He's been kind of wrecking havoc in their backline this whole time, and they haven't really had a response for it. This is where patience as a tank really pays off, right? We didn't try to force something. Sometimes you have to try to make a play. Sometimes we can just kind of, again, we were putting so much pressure on the front line that the supports had to focus the front line, and they weren't able to support their other DPS as well and or themselves, right? Right. This whole time, I think, Jeff's been taking damage. He's been trying to help out, but he hasn't, his attention's been divided. Is Luna back yet? Luna was dead. Luna's still not even back yet. So this is great. This is where the levee breaks, right? I'm assuming so, because I know we score some points. We get Groot ulted. Luckily, there's so much healing when you shield it, which is awesome. Let's use this as a learning opportunity, though. Did we block it? Or did we let him get past us? Let's see. Okay, so he slips past us a little bit, and again, I'm not even like harping on that as a mistake from you. He didn't get past us, but he created just enough space to get that Groot ult in behind you. And I can say from experience as a group player, that's exactly what I'm looking for as a group player, right? is he had just enough space. You didn't shield it. He had just enough space to shoot, get squishy, squishy, squishy. And he's seeing red right now. Fortunately for you, he did not read the rest of the situation very well. He didn't realize that the rest of his team was focused on the Star-Lord and that his Namor just died, so he doesn't have a lot of follow-up damage. So it plays out in your guys' favor. So not a mistake on our part by any means, but look for whenever you see Groot kind of kiting to the side like that a little bit, right? And trying to kind of sneak in through that corner, know that he's probably looking for an ulti. And a Strange Shield can block a Groot ulti, right? A Strange Shield can really screw over a Groot ulti. So, right, like, when he goes right there, boom. Okay, I should be shielding, right? Just throw up the shield real quick, just to check, right? Just in case, bam, right? And I think we even see, like, he has this little animation where he covers his head. It's hard to notice, but again, just kind of that. This is where being proactive and being able to like read the tea leaves a little bit comes into play. And this is what really separates some of the higher ranked players, is how well they can read the tea leaves, how well they can read their opponents. Right? They're not just mechanically playing well themselves. Their opponents do certain things, take certain actions that tip them off to what they're going to do, and because they know what they're going to do before even they do it, they're able to react appropriately and counterattack, if you will, which is kind of what happens here, right? Maybe not on purpose, but it still works out in our favor. Jeff swallows this again, but this is kind of a waste of a Jeff ult because Cloak and Dagger manages to ult you out. I think the Jeff doesn't throw you out. Where do you go? He does throw you out, but it's a lost fight because the rest of your team kind of came through here. Again, I don't think that was a mistake on your part. You maybe, did you have your fly? I don't know if you had your fly. Maybe you could have flew out there, but again, it was kind of, it happened quickly. Didn't have a lot of time to react to it. I think this is good just playing this neutral game. I think, again, going back to what we said earlier about the shoot melee, let's see how much we're doing. So I don't think we're melee, we're just shooting. So you should be, I don't know if you know this or not. I'm assuming you do since you do it sometimes, but there's absolutely no DPS fall off between shoot and shoot melee. The delay of the melee is the exact same delay as the natural delay that his shooting has, right? So just doing it all the time is gonna offer no drawbacks, and it's only gonna yield you more damage, more ult charge, more charge for your E especially. In fact, that's honestly probably where it provides more value. Yeah, it provides ult charge and damage, but being able to, have your E online more often so that you can use it more frequently is always going to be a good thing. Right. We do see Strange go behind it. This is good. Does Strange have an ult? He does have an ult. So we catch him this time. So we figure it out. Let's see what happens though. Are we going to let him get away with it? We lost him. There we go. Where did he go? Hold on. Third person time. He's up above us. He's shooting us. Right? So don't forget object permanence, right? Just because he leaves your field of view does not mean he ceases to exist, right? I think we don't forget about him completely, but we see that he's like not on our back line, so we go, okay, we don't have to worry about him, and we start to walk back up to the front, and there he goes. Oh, you were more ready for it, so you do manage to block it this time, or at least save most of your team, and luckily the door saves the other half, and so he only gets one from that. So that was a little bit of luck, a little bit of you learning from your mistakes, though. That was good. We were better with our reaction there. Just again, don't like that couple seconds where we went, maybe it's not oh god, yes it is. Okay, that was enough for him to get that Winter Soldier, and luckily Winter Soldier didn't die this time. Very easily could have been worse though. So our Star-Lord wins the ulti battle. Barely. He's about to die. He dies. Do we still win? Yeah, we still win this fight, though. We clean up nicely. What were you doing in that fight? I have to reblock the Strange ult. Okay, yeah, this is good. Shoot melee, W key, push forward, create space, excellent. So that was the right time to be pushing forward. You're smart enough not to step off payload, which is good. Although I will say, okay, yeah, you can step off payload a little bit to create space when you need to, because you are the tank. It is necessary. Honestly, supports are probably the last, quote-unquote, last people that should be on payload, usually, but tanks can usually stay on payload a lot longer as well. So it all depends. Yeah, it looks like, see, they're playing a little smarter. See, they're starting to learn from their mistakes, and they're not staggering in anymore, right? Waiting for their team to gather. Psylocke throws her ulti down. so you did the smart thing there and you jumped in the Psylocke ulti, right? Or you stayed in the Psylocke ulti to negate the damage, which is awesome. That's good. You get your heals back up, you played the smart, you Agamotto yourself. Oh, okay. Good Agamotto. Unfortunate that she had the Luna ult up. Let's rewind that and see if there couldn't have been... again, they played smart. They didn't stagger. I probably would have... Okay, yeah, no. We had to go back for the Psylocke ultis. So this is tough because you just have to kind of weather a lot of ultis at this point. Right? And that's not always possible. It relies on the whole team playing to a certain degree of skill and intelligence that doesn't necessarily always happen, but see, this is again, we need to be kind of staying on payload, I think, a little bit more. We need to, in these situations where it's overtime, it's second round, right? We probably are just being, I think this is a good ulti in a different circumstance. I think this is just the wrong ulti, or the right ulti at the wrong time, right? The Luna saves most of it. We do get a pick or two from it, but it's just not enough, right? As you can see, their Strange, on the other hand, he jumps on your back line, does not use ulti, but he is contesting payload, and he has the Groot to help him. He has the Groot wall off their heals. He does take a lot of damage. He's also dealing a lot of damage, and the Groot comes in to finish things. When he backs up, he sees the Luna ulti. Again, his ebb and flow is just a little better than yours, right? Yours is kind of a bit like delayed, right? We react a little too slowly, or we don't think about these things until it's a little too late. So a lot of this honestly comes from experience and just like learning time and time again. You know, after Luna negates your ult like 70 times, you're eventually going to learn, okay, maybe I should keep more aware of when Luna ultis. It's just going to come with time and experience. But if we're actively thinking about these things and not just letting ourselves kind of autopilot the way through the match, then we'll start improving on these things quicker. And that's all she wrote, right? So let's go ahead, and so that was still a decent push for only having a little bit of time left. It being overtime, you know, they kind of, again, at a certain point with a lot of these overtime fights, everyone's just going to dump ultis on point and no one's going to be able to stand on it, and then that's going to end the match, right? Or end the round. That's pretty hard to avoid even at the high level. So don't expect to run it all the way down every time in overtime, right? I would still say that's a respectable push. What we need to do better here is do better on defense. But again, because I already know how this plays out, we're going to see why it doesn't work out that way. Okay, so we're on defense now. I see we've chosen to hold on the high ground at first, which is fine as long as we drop back like almost immediately. I know their Strange did this and it kind of scored him some free damage and caught you off guard a little bit, so I guess you're figuring you'd try the same thing. You kind of immediately give it up though. Maybe you're just using that for the lookout spot. But then you drop down, and again, you can hold this arch, but just, you know, be a little wary. Be ready to give it up quickly, right? Because their whole team is barreling down on you, and your team is behind you, yes, but they can't shoot beyond this bridge. See, let's switch to the perspective of which one's Cloak. 3. See, switch to okay, Cloak jumps down. But yeah, see, she can't see beyond that bridge really, and any DPS that stand there aren't going to be able to see beyond that bridge really. So your line is right there where you're standing right now, where your shield is, right? Anyway, back to what we're talking about. So it's awesome that our solo gets an open pick. We just kind of use it to hold the space, which is good. Back up a little bit in the heals. Try not to give up too much. See, we're ebbing maybe a little too much here, right? You have the heals, you have full health, you have full shield, right? You don't have a ton of reason to back up right now, right? Maybe if the Strange starts to run past you, you can turn around and shoot him in the back, right? But don't let their whole team just walk over, right? We're trying to stay in front of the Strange, and I think this is another kind of misconception we have, is that we have to stay in front of the tank. You don't have to stay in front of the tank. It is smart to stay in front of the tank. And in this situation, with him barreling down on your supports, it might feel like it might be the best thing to do, but it also might just, lost my train of thought here. So it might just cost us a lot of space, right? Because now we've backed up a bunch, and our team is probably fine either way, because they had hard cover, they had heals. Strange probably would have just died if he walked up here by himself, but because you gave up all this space, the rest of their team is able to walk up too. See, these are the situations where trying to push their backline and pressure their backline is going to be better than backing up and helping your backline, because your backline has enough help, I think. I want to say they have enough help. Whereas their backline is down a Squirrel Girl. Their Moon Knight's still kind of just chilling back there. You could at the very least be standing here and shooting the Strange and Luna, or sorry, the Shark and the Luna, and forcing them to kind of play more behind this corner to where they can't heal their tanks as easily, and maybe then their tanks die without you even having to directly fight them. Right, but either way, we give it the space, and this is fine still, because like I said, this is a very defensible position. So as long as we're playing here and playing close to this corner or that pillar, we'll usually be okay until something goes down like an ultimate or a pick. Right now, Star-Lord's doing a decent job of getting pressure. We're kind of still backing up a little more than we need to. Use the hard cover. Remember, you have your shield, you have your health, but you also have this wall. This wall is your best friend. Don't neglect him. Winter Soldier goes in with his ulti. Now is the time to W key. I think, do we get nervous of the Moon Knight thingy? Is that why we don't W key more? But yeah, we should be like going all the way up here. We shouldn't be hesitating. We should be going all the now. So yeah, we're kind of just circling and hesitating to let Winter Soldier. Well, we don't let Winter Soldier die. He does get himself killed for the most part. But we could still be kind of walking up with him and trying to help him here. Maybe we could have like gotten that Shark. See, our E is pretty charged right now, and the Shark is right next to you, and he's been Winter Soldier ulted, right? So even if we get him down to that red mark, he still dies. Who knows? Maybe you get enough to reset him. Probably not, but I think it probably would have helped a little bit more than just standing there, shooting in front of distance. Luckily, the Winter Soldier gets res. You guys are able to recover pretty nicely. See, now is when you want to back up. This is smart. This is good. But now, okay, so this is trouble for your cloak more than it is for you. But your cloak is in front of the wall, and she's getting lashed, right? This is where we would really want to shield her. We do shield her. Excellent. Perfect. And she heals us both. We do have the Luna ult to contend with, though, and we also have the wall behind us. So this is probably where we want to fall back to some more hard cover. Our cloak is going to follow us. She's not going to be so dumb as to just stand there, hopefully, right? This is plat. This isn't like silver. So, I mean, you can at least trust your teammates to usually not play dumb. So we go back to this corner, or even more so, especially because of the Luna ult, we go back to this corner and start fighting them again in earnest when the Luna ult is out too. Ooh, okay, but we get cornered by the Jeff ult. So yeah, this is tough. They're just using their ultis pretty well here. You do a great job of flying up. This is actually really smart. So Jeff swallows. I think he only gets your Jeff, and then we come back down. But the only problem here is that we're kind of falling back in between our backline and their backline. We probably wanted to back up a little bit when we fly. Not the biggest deal in the world, but as you can kind of see, now your supports have backed up further, and they've kind of worked themselves into more of a corner, and you're walled off from them more or less, right? We're kind of sitting here solo fighting the Strange. We do have Winter Soldier here, but he kind of is quickly turning to go deal with the problem behind you. Whereas you're just holding one person back instead of dealing with more of the problem at hand, right? Luna ult is going to be out pretty quickly here. Right? Okay, we do get the pick on the Strange, actually. That was a pretty good play, because we were able to deal with him quickly. That's good. Now Luna ult is out, and now we got to kind of regroup and figure out what the heck is going on here. So we're going to regroup. Oh, okay, we get the Invisible Woman ulti. We almost get the Jeff. Can we get the Jeff? No, Jeff's going to get away. Try to turn around and deal with these walls every so often, too. Alright. That's a one fight because the Invisible Woman ult is a bad Groot ult. Iron Fist feeds, which is awesome. So far, things have been going... on cue. I was about to say, so far things have been going really well here. I'm wondering where it goes south. This looks like this is where it goes south. Not entirely your fault. You're in the right position this time. You're on the high ground. You're ready to kind of shoot down on them. Your team is a little split up, though, unfortunately. Your team is not quite ready for it. You're down one, I think, right? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who are we missing? No. Visible Woman? Oh, there she is. Okay, so yeah, we're all kind of spread out, though. We're opposite the portal, but what I would do if I was you right here is probably just stay on this high ground and maybe drop down and help our supports over here, just because they need protection. Let's see how this unfolds, though. Okay, you fly up. Are you going for the Agamotto? Okay, you're going for the Agamotto. This is not a bad idea. Let's see how it plays out. We see we wait too long. Why are we floating up there? I think this is a mechanics issue of we're floating up with the fly, and yeah, we try to go for too much of the aerial. We need to drop down. If you drop down, that honestly could have potentially been a game-winning ult. But unfortunately, yeah, we don't cancel the fly first. You gotta cancel the fly first. You don't drop down from that. You're gonna stay floating. So you only get the Jeff. You do get the Jeff. You guys also get the Luna. So they have no healers. So this should honestly probably still be a one fight. You're down one healer. Let's take inventory here of what's going on. Everyone's kind of split up, and this is the downfall of these metal rank fights, you know, like it gets better as you get higher up, but even in plat it's still a problem of like fights just become disjointed. Let's see, like 2 of you are fighting the group, they're fighting the squirrel girl, Star-Lord's dealing with the Johnny, and you see everyone's kind of fighting different people. Whereas if priorities are more aligned and everyone decides to fight the same person, which again, in a perfect world, everyone's calming and saying who they're shooting, but you can't all just yell out who you're shooting all the time, right? So you got to kind of like think with your team and think, okay, is my team going to want to shoot this Groot right now because he's behind 2 walls? I know he's kind of low and we're probably tunneling on him and our cloak is helping us. But also, the Squirrel Girl would probably be much easier to just delete, right? Johnny is half health. We could probably help get a pick on him if we just looked up and shot at him once or twice, right? Let's see. He still gets the ulti anyway. What? You guys get this Groot anyway. Squirrel Girl dies. So luckily, this disjointed fight works out in our favor because they have no supports. But we let 2 of our supports die. That's unfortunate. There's not a whole lot you can do there. You can shoot the squirrels. In fact, you probably wanted to shoot the squirrels there. So yeah, so this is, I mean, the best thing we could have done here was just shoot the squirrels. This is just kind of an unfortunate circumstance. Again, it's not like on you. All right, so now is the moment of truth though, right? You have no supports, or rather, you have 1 support coming back. You and him are half health. You guys gotta wait until you get healed, until you can engage again. You got Star-Lord still helping you out. Definitely the one kind of carrying this game, I think. So we're able to kind of get our heals. We're able to kind of hold our space, but we're still down 2. This is honestly probably more Star-Lord's mistake than anything. But again, don't let your teammates' mistakes be your mistakes. Don't start trying to fight this just because he went in, right? So it's good. You back up. You get walled though, right? And it's gonna so it's not your downfall, but it's Invisible Woman's, right? And that might as well be the same thing. Invisible Woman's and Bucky's. Okay. Would Invisible Woman and Winter Soldier have pushed up if you didn't push up there, right? Probably not. Star-Lord is Star-Lord. Star-Lord dives backline. He flies around. He flips. He's Flipsy the flipping dog. He can do these things, and if he gets killed, yeah, it hurts, but it's not the worst thing in the world. He kind of, this is just sometimes what happens to Star-Lord. He gets frozen, and he can't get out, right? You did not need to follow that fight, I think, as much as you did, especially because you got the rest of their team quickly bearing down on you. And I don't know if you noticed that. I think we kind of tunnel. Yeah, we kind of just tunnel on the left, but you got the rest of their team bearing down on you on the right. And I think if we knew that, we probably wouldn't have risked stepping out so far. And again, it's barely too far, but just see, that was just enough. That just enough for it to cost you DPS, right? And you're trying to shield them. They're staying behind your shield. If you were back further, they would have been behind your shield more. They would have got walled. But unfortunately, you guys get wiped. And then this is just a lost fight. Still not completely a lost game though, right? You get res, and yeah, there's not much you can do there. And hold on, actually, let's use that as a point. We already know the fight's lost, right? We know that our team's barely coming back. We know that most people are dead. It's just those 2 supports coming through. I would not step past this. This was a tear, or this was a dire mistake, right? Because you get walled, you get blocked off from your heals, you get stunned a bunch, you can't really do much. You're trying to, I think, kill the Luna. But there's just no way you're gonna overpower their entire team, right? This is just where you cut your losses, you admit defeat, and you start you say, I'm stoked that I got res, and I'm gonna back up and enjoy not having to walk back from all the way over there. Right? Don't try to overcommit just because you got the res and you think that it's still a winnable fight. Right? Because we just, and then now I see we made an even worse mistake. We walked behind the pillar. Maybe if we stayed right here, we could have kept getting healing. But we go behind the pillar. We're cloaking and barely even heal. She have the bubble, but the bubble doesn't heal that much. Especially when you have 6 people shooting at you. Yeah, Star-Lord's back there, but he's not distracting them enough, right? And you get trapped, and then there's just nothing Cloak can do, right? And then Cloak's gonna get killed because she was trying to keep you alive for too long, right? So, she died. Star-Lord dies though. I think this is good. See, we do find a place to group up. You find the closest corner, and you hold the space. This is good. This is inevitably what we want to do, or eventually what we wanted to do, right? Except they're still kind of a little bit. They have numbers on us still, so I'd be pretty cautious. Invisible Woman's playing pretty aggressive right now. I think you guys just really want to try and push him off point and try to save the win. But unfortunately, I think panic is starting to set in. You guys get 2 picks. Both their DPS are down. We do not have ult yet. But this is where we want to start W keying and trying to find opportunities to create space and push them up. Instead, we're backing up. Okay, so yeah, we gave up that corner. We didn't really need to go up that corner. I think the root walls maybe got to us, and we kind of backed up because we were worried about being walled off, which is fair. You can shoot those too, though. They're only 250 health, which is the same health as a squishy character. So if you can just like shoot it twice, you know, you'll knock off half the health. Someone else will probably knock down the rest of it. Walking back isn't your only option, because if you walk back every time Groot's got a wall, you're only going to be holding S the whole time. So I think we get a little rattled by the walls here. And Luna ulties. This is, see, I think this is more of a waste from Invisible Woman than Luna. Let's see. I think Invisible Woman probably could have waited. That's okay. You're doing a good job of holding point, more or less, but again, we're kind of standing in open space here. And now is when we want to realize that there's a fuck ton of walls behind us, right? So now is when we maybe, this is when I would maybe back up, right? This is when we maybe want to give up a little space, right? And then that happens. And I think that happened because we were a little too far up, right? Ebb and flow. We gotta stay in front of our teammates. We gotta hold space, but we gotta stay in front of our teammates too, right? And then, yeah, I think it's just gonna kind of fall apart here. Unfortunately, they just, you guys have 4 ults though, man. I don't know. We're down 1. I'm wondering how you guys lose this. What needs to happen here? I mean, you have your ulti. I wouldn't necessarily open this up with my ulti though. I think we just need to shoot Groot walls, honestly. I think the Groot walls are causing too much havoc. I see. Okay, you turned around. This puts you in this is a tough spot. This might be where we cut our losses and dive the backline anyway, because I mean you can shield this, but you don't. Not really. See this, I would have flown up and shielded it probably. Then maybe we would have saved the cloak. I think it's too little too late at this point. See, you have a difficult. So that was tough, right? Because we heard the Scarlet ult, and in most situations we probably would want to turn around and try to save our team. In this case though, there's just, you have too little space to give, right? In this case, I would hope your supports can keep themselves alive. Yeah, this is where we have to have a little bit of faith in teammates, right? Our cloak times it too early. She doesn't save the Invisible Woman, unfortunately. But you need to be right here. You're the only thing stopping them from losing. And unfortunately, because you stepped off, you lost the match, right? You guys lost with a shit ton of ultis. So I hate to harp on you. I hate to like make you feel bad, but you kind of did lose the team this match, specifically right here. I'm not saying you're playing general. Everyone made mistakes here for sure. But this specifically, we turned around. We didn't turn back around until it was too late. All right, and so that's the match. And so yeah, to summarize, I think you're definitely not a bad player by any means. I think we just need to read the ebb and flow of the match a little bit more. In general, just kind of back ourselves up a little bit, metaphorically speaking, and try to kind of see the fight as it happens as a whole, rather than just seeing what directly happens in front of us. Keeping track ults is good, but not a priority. Mechanics is good, but again, don't use mechanics as an excuse for making bad positioning, or taking bad pushes, or what have you. And yeah, I think that in general summarizes it. Hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully anyone else that watches this finds this helpful. I do stream on Twitch here and there, at chefboy art underscore DJ. And yeah, I'll hopefully be doing more of these. So hopefully I can get this out quick and get another one out quicker. And yeah, until then, I'll see you guys next time.